I guess I will switch gears and talk a little bit about lifestyle and balance. And by the way, I'll just keep talking and you interrupt me and change subject if you need to. Yeah. But there's a lot of things in our journey that got us to this point. Right. Mm-hmm. And the first one, and I'm going to go back because you and I, we spend a lot of time talking about work-life balance.
Yeah, that's my favorite topic.
And it's a great topic. Yeah. Because, and by the way, work-life balance is not just one thing and everyone's got it. It depends on how old you are and where you are in your journey will determine what does that look like. Yep. So I will tell you, our first experience with work-life balance, it wasn't even called that when this would be 30 years ago. Sure. Work-life balance, what's that? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, I grew up, it's like you work your butt off. That's what you do, and you do what it takes. Yeah, what does that look like?
There is no balance.
Balance, self-care. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm smiling and joking about that, but that is important. You know why I know that's important? Because 30 years later, I can look back and see what happened if I wouldn't have done that. Sure. And there's a lot of evidence of that. So, but I remember Andy and I, we bought our first house. I was 28, she was 29. Ian was born. Mm-hmm. So we bought our first house in 88. Mm-hmm. And I remember specifically, Reese was born in 94. Ian was born in 90. Mm-hmm. We got married in 88, so 7 years. I was 35 years old. Mm-hmm. And Andy and I were working hard. Yep. We were trying to hold it all together. I was working in a corporate sales position, driving 30,000 miles a year in my car, all over Puget Sound. Wow. Paid a salary plus a commission. Okay. Yep. So I had a guaranteed income, but with the commission and the sales, it was in advertising and in the apartment industry, I had a big client base that I had to service and all this and that. And so back then there wasn't a 40-hour work week. Like, who does that? Right. Right? Yeah. 65 hours a week would be the expectation at our income level. Yeah. And then really that was what you worked. And then you'd go home and think about it all night. So, it was 80, 85 hour a week. Yeah. And then you fit the rest of everything in on top of that. Mm-hmm. So stress was an understatement. Yeah. And I'm sitting in traffic and wound tight when I would get home. Mm-hmm. And then, we've got 2 young children that also are excited to see their parents and trying to work all that out. And what I'm going to tell you next is it's personal, but it's a key moment in the journey that's really helped us. And that was about, I think I was 35. So Andy was probably 36. And we were just at each other. We weren't fighting. We weren't angry. There was not separation or divorce type, but we just weren't right. We weren't connecting, and we were sniping at each other and just testy, I guess. Mm-hmm. And we stopped in the middle of just a pathetic argument over something that I don't even remember. That's how big of a deal that was. Right. But the pattern was tense. It was just, everything was tense, angry and wound a little tight. And we realized, the whole world has plenty of things that it will do to get after us. Yep. We got plenty of things that'll take us down. Yep. The one thing that we should do and can do is just be kind to each other. Yep. So we made an agreement, literally made an agreement to just be kind to each other. Right. We didn't make an agreement to change. We didn't make an agreement to stop being testy or whatever. It was just be nice, because the rest of the world isn't. Yep. That's beautiful. And life has its way of trying to rip you apart. Yeah. And will. Right. And what does that look like? Well, it looks like too much debt. Mm-hmm. So we're climbing our careers and using credit cards to supplement income that we didn't have, trying to stay ahead of the game there. Mm-hmm. So now all of a sudden we're sitting in traffic. It sucks. We don't have enough money to pay all our bills all the time. Right. So now you're a bookkeeper in a juggling process and navigating all that. That's still pretty common. I can look back over everyone's life and kind of see where they're at in the phase. Yeah. But the making the decision to be kind to each other.
Yep.
Some of our family thinks we joke about it. We've been together so long that I will say in the beginning it was Joel and Andy, and it really was. I was a sophomore in high school,
Right.
and it's still Joel and Andy.
Yeah. Cool.
And I was actually talking with Andy. I was out of town and just got back, and Andy was sharing with me a little angst. And right now we're in a political climate that's changing, and it's different. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and it's putting people in a position to start asking questions and seeing things maybe they hadn't thought about. I'm learning things right now just watching the news of things that I've been wandering around, working, paying taxes since I had to when I started working, going, I've never heard of that.
Right.
What's that all about?
Yep.
And I looked at Andy and I said, so I understand all this. And yes, there's a lot going on. I'm totally intrigued right now with all of it.
Right.
I said, but remember, in the beginning, it was Joel and Andy, and it's still Joel and Andy.
Yeah.
So what really matters right now is what you and I are doing.
Right.
All the rest of this is going to do what it's doing. But we know just with time, time will fix things.